Joined by Towson guard Nick Timberlake. Nick, before we open up for some questions, just kind of your impressions on the game and maybe what happened there in the second half that allowed them to kind of pull away.
I just felt like they were just more aggressive than we were in the second half. They were knocking down. It felt like every shot they were taking out rebounded us by a lot, which teams usually don't do. But yeah, they were definitely more aggressive than we were.
Questions for Nick? Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey Nick, I know it's just been a few minutes since the game, but can you kind of describe the challenges of going through this season that you and your team, and not just your teammates, but of course everybody in the country, went through to try and get a season in, and just how tough it was, how challenging it was, and particularly mentally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely very challenging. I can tell you, I was going through it mentally too. I was always talking to my dad, just helping me get through it. I was quarantined for 10 days. All of us were quarantined for the most part. I think Solo probably leaves the country. But it's very different not playing for 2 weeks, not doing anything really, and then coming out practicing for 3 or 4 days and having to play a game. You can't simulate game speed in practice.
And obviously every season when it ends, it feels like it ends suddenly and abruptly. This season, does it feel any different than earlier seasons ending, given just how strange and stop and start it was?
Yeah, it feels like the season ended like, 4 different times I think we got shut down. Yeah, it feels a lot different. I mean, I don't even know when our last game was. I was trying to think to myself who we played before Northeast, and I couldn't even think of it. But it's been a crazy year.
Nick, I think you had 11 in the first half. What adjustments did they make on you to play in the second half?
I just feel like they were, again, very aggressive towards me, just coming off the screens and hitting me every time they could. Kudos to them. Kind of bugged me a little bit, as you can probably tell. But yeah, I feel like they were just hitting me as much as they could, and yeah.
Any other questions for Nick? All right, thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
I know.
Joined by Towson head coach Pat Scarry. Before we open up for questions, Pat, just your impressions on what happened in the game today.
Yeah, I also appreciate Nick coming in. He toughed it out for us. He's got to have a surgery here pretty quickly on his ankle, so he's been kind of battling that for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, credit to Elon. We knew coming in they were the hottest team in the league. They've been. It's important to I understate to play and practice every day, and that way you can improve. I thought, they're good. They're well coached. They got good players. Their speed bothered us, and then I thought we looked like we were running in mud, heavy mud. It's hard to simulate going through that, but that doesn't take away the fact that they shot the ball well and they were quick. They were quicker to the basketball than us, which normally is a pretty good trademark of our team, but it certainly wasn't today. But like I said, our guys were really good handling this all year. It's not what they signed up for. 3 pauses, 23 days between games, 21 days between games, and then this was our short one, 20 days between games. It's just hard to get a rhythm going.
Question for Coach Scarry? Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey Pat, you kind of just alluded to it now with the 3 long pauses, and you've talked about it a lot this year. But can you sort of, describe what it was like to be on the inside with you guys these last 3 months with the stops and the starts, and just the challenges of trying to complete a season in these circumstances?
Yeah, it's really challenging. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. When we had a great win over Northeastern, we had like 7, 8 guys. I told my wife if it was over now, might not be such a, once the rest of the pauses came. This last one really hurt us because the other ones only one person had it. This time we had a swoop of like 8 to 10 people had it. And, it just guys look winded. We tried to get after them in practice the last few days because you don't want to give them an out. But I mean, I've told people this last couple of days that no, like I said, Jerry, we've had 20 practices where we've played 5-on-5 since November 22nd. It's just not a good way to build habits. So it's been hard on the kids. But look, no one, I mean, there's bigger things than basketball this year. I'm fortunate I've got a really good president and AD. They've understood it. I just want to get back to training the way we normally train so that we can, develop some good habits. But it's been hard.
Every year when it ends suddenly and abruptly. But does this ending feel any different, given just what a weird season it was? And Nicholas said it felt like the season ended 3 or 4 times. Does this end of this season feel different than the others you've experienced in tournament play?
Yeah, this does. I mean, honestly, with all the starts and stops we've had since like December 5th or 6th, it's been hard to have. It's weird when you're in the gym in late February watching one guy shoot with a coach on a Saturday when you're supposed to be playing Drexel. So it doesn't feel like a season at all. I mean, God bless the people that haven't had pauses and have been able to play their season, but it's a lot of ways this is worse than my first year. And I don't think anything I didn't think at the time could have been worse than that, but this is a lot of ways been worse.
At the start of the second half, where Elon was able to pull away, with all the shooters that they have, what makes them so difficult to try to defend?
Well, they're in a good rhythm. You can tell they're getting better at running their offense. They have good speed. They take a lot of threes. And I just thought that we were worried about that. And we didn't help ourselves. The points off turnovers, that was a kind of a big message this week, because we can't. Not that we had a lot of them. We had untimely ones that led to easy baskets down the other end. But they got quick guards, and then they move. They're fast, and they're in a good rhythm and finding guys and understanding spacing, and that's why they've won 5 in a row.
Any other questions for Pat today? All right, thanks, Pat.
I appreciate the CAA and everything they've done to try to put on a tournament. It certainly hasn't been easy. Joey and his staff, and you guys deserve a lot of credit for that.